Holy smokes, you guys. I did not expect that thing to happen to this 2006 F-150 XLT Triton motor engine on the Ford. Oh my, it got me. The customer had stated vibration while driving. They drove this thing here and parked it. So naturally, I wanted to recreate said vibration. And what we had thought was that the rear differential had like a bad bearing or a nasty pinion bearing, similar to that F-150 that we had in here a few weeks ago that needed a rear end rebuild on it. I thought that's what happened or what was going on. It did not even occur to any of us that the drive shaft was falling apart and eating itself alive. Fortunately, it's got a slip yoke on this two-piece shaft, and the rear side didn't fall out, or the rear side, and the front side didn't fall out. And even more fortunately, it didn't happen 30 seconds prior to getting into the parking lot after I test drove this. Now, like I said, they drove this thing in here, so we had minimal fear that this thing was going to grenade and explode and destroy itself, but it did. So looks like we're gonna need to get a drive shaft. I need to go ahead and figure out how to get this thing into the building. We're gonna push it in and then set it up on the rack real quick so we can get a better look at what's going on with this carnage down here. So what I'm gonna do, we're gonna strap this piece of the drive shaft back up with a ratchet strap, and then we're gonna have to push this thing inside. We could use the Caterpillar skid steer over there, but that's kind of overkill for pushing a car. We got 3 of us here today, so we can just manually push this thing in. So let me get this thing ratchet strapped up. We're gonna get this this truck on a lift here and see if anything else was damaged in that little event that just took place. So stay tuned. This right here is gonna be a very good video. Just wow. This is not how I intended to start this project here.
Why not?
You were gonna put them together?
Yeah.
Yeah, I figure we can just push it. I don't know if those are gonna go together. That might be hard. They could have a master spline in them, but this is not how I saw this repair going by any means. I thought it was in the diff, man. And that's why, like I was saying yesterday, I don't usually test drive stuff without looking at it first. And I broke my rule, and look what happened. The flipping drive shaft falls out. Woo! See, you gotta follow a procedure. There's a reason it exists. Okay, we're ready to kind of get this thing back inside. What do I do with the key? What we're gonna do here, put it in neutral, restart the engine. Now, I've got the parking brake on because without the drive shaft there, the parking pole and the transmission can't stop it from rolling back. But we're gonna push this thing in. Pizza delivery woman.
Hope you're hungry.
Deliciousness. Yeah, we're coming. We gotta push this thing in, and then we'll come get some chow. You fellas ready?
Yeah.
You ready? All right, let's get out of here. All right, I think we're there. A little more, go a little more, a little more, a little more. Oh, right there. We got it. Yeah, let's shut it down. Oh, what is going on? This truck is cursed. There we go. Fixed it. Okay, we have the rack set. It's going on up. Take a peek at the carnage here in a minute when we get all the way up in the air. The drive shaft's about to fall out. The front side's about to fall out, yeah. All right, well, going down below, clearly we can see the drive shaft fall out. Broke the boot on the way out of it. That's all chowdered up. And here's our point of failure right here. See this 2-piece drive shaft, and it's supposed to have a carrier bearing that kind of holds that together. That guy's supposed to hang out up here, and it has fallen out clearly, which is why we almost ruined this entire vehicle. If this had happened at speed, we'd be looking at a whole different set of carnage here, because this thing would have been flopping around more than it already was. It would have broke the tail shaft back here in the transmission. We've seen that before. Fortunately, the shaft just started falling out of it, and I think we just kind of screwed up the seal right here, so we're gonna throw a seal in it. Fuel tank took a couple hits here and there. The shield took most of it, so no major damage there. No wiring harness here, so there's no damage to that. A little bit up here on that, not a big deal, nothing structural. The exhaust is good, and out back we're good over here as well. Yeah, we had no damage here. So what we need to do is unbolt this drive shaft from the rear yoke here, and we'll pull out the slip yoke there. I'm gonna go ahead and recommend that we just get a new unit, because this one has suffered catastrophic failure. Yeah, I realized it was partially at my hand, but at the same time, I had no idea, guys. I didn't know this was gonna happen. We thought it was inside of here, because that's what it sounded like. And plus, like I said earlier, they drove this thing in, so I did not expect that to happen. What I need to do to determine which drive shaft goes in this is I've got to pull this differential cover off, which is part of what the customer requested, was to inspect the rear axle fluid. So I need to pull this cover off because there should be an engraving on the side of the differential carrier inside, and that engraving is going to tell us the diameter of the ring gear inside of here, and that is what's going to influence which drive shaft out of the 3 different part numbers that are available, which drive shaft is going to be the one. So we need to get a hold of a 13mm socket and a little clicky impact gun here, and we're going to pull that cover off to see what size. Where's my sockets? There we go. We're gonna see what size axle this guy is. Okie dokes, we find ourselves at the differential cover, so we're gonna pull this cover off for inspection. It's a 13mm bolts and a socket. Run around and get this guy loose. Now, when taking these covers off, look at that, that was close to a finger cutter offer. I didn't see the tag, and the tag spun. That could have hurt real bad. There's always danger looming, trying to injure your flanges. And we're gonna leave the top one in. That's what I was starting to talk about. Leave the top one in, that way when we crack the seal, it doesn't just fall off and then Niagara that nasty fluid everywhere. So we'll leave that cover there to kind of provide some controlled resistance for the fluid downfall. Make sense? It does to me. So now that we have all the fasteners loose here, what I'm going to do is get behind this cover with a little pry bar and a linear impact driver. This is the miniature one. We're just going to drive this in behind that cover and get a bite on it. There we go. Now we're in. Just going to pry back on it some and release the schmoo. Nasty. There we go. It could be looking worse. That's actually not that bad. It's not all black in color. Decent colored of fluid. So I'm hoping there's no damage in here. It wouldn't be related from the drive shaft, with the exception of the possibility that this car had been driven around for an extended period of time with that weeby wobbly shaft. Okay, so there we go. Let's get rid of that. Okay, I think this is the 8.8 inch, not the 9.75. Okay, so it's an open differential, meaning it's not a limited slip. Or is it? There might be some clutches back there. I can't really tell. I think it's an open diff. Yeah, that's open diff. We're not getting any posi track action here. The faces of those gears look very good in here. It's nice clean rear end. So over here on the side, you should find a stamping or an engraving on it that tells us the diameter. It's in there somewhere. The 9.75s have it, and I'm not seeing, I don't see it anywhere. Perhaps on this side? Negative. We're gonna have to just measure it the old school way with a tape measure. Okay, here, let's try this here. What we'll do is we're gonna eyeball this as close as possible. This is a 8.8 inch. Right there, we're at the top. And coming down using my micrometer, we've got the 9-inch mark right here. And the edge is slightly in, so this is a 8.8. That's the drive shaft that we need. Okay, so next I need to measure, since we know that's an 8.8, we need to measure the wheelbase of this vehicle. So when you measure wheelbase, you go from the center of the axle to the center of the other axle. Dave's gonna help us out. He's gonna go up front to the front there. Go to the center cap, please. Stretch it back. And our wheelbase, are you right in the middle there, Dave?
Yeah.
144 and some change to the center, 144 inches. All right, you're good, let her go, sir. So we got one of the 144 inches, 2-piece drive shaft with carrier bearing for a Ford 8.8 open differential. Okay, we got a oil catch drain for the transmission fluid there. So we're gonna put this right there on the ground. We might spill some change fluid out of this. Pull that guy back. Let's see how this U-joint is. Feels a little stiff, like right through here. It's still good, but it feels a little tough right there. Okay, that's out of the way. Goodbye, cat. Now, let's turn around here and get this shaft disconnected from the system. I need a Driveline socket. Yeah, that's a little flexi wobbly 12-point Driveline socket for these bolts right here. Stick that guy on. And fetch my gun. Anybody have a gun? You have a gun? Thanks. Let me borrow your gun. Here, hold that. Borrow Dave. Getting Dave's gun. Oops. Snuck up on me. It's a lot easier to take apart with the drive shaft in half. Now the ratchet strap still holding it up behind us. Okay. Need a hammer. There's a hammer. Everything's a hammer. See that? Why did fluid fall out of this? Yeah. Wonder if the seal got boogered up in there too. Scheisse. Well, that one's destroyed. Yeah, it's leaking. Never seen one do that. How is it leaking through? Oh, you know what? I think that these axle nuts had a recall on them where there was a sealant on the back side of the nut because fluid was coming down the splines and then leaking out, and I think the recall was to replace the nut. I think we'll have to do that in order to make this thing not leak. And it's been leaking, but it wasn't leaking out of this area here because that yoke bolted onto it was creating a seal right here. And then when I took it loose, it all dumped out everywhere. That's what I think's going on here, if memory serves. Recall or service bulletin or something on that axle nut. The Ford guys would know better than I, because they did the recalls on them, but that's what I understood. That was weird. Didn't expect to find that either. I wonder what other jewels of mystery this thing has in store for us in the future. Let's see. Spinning around up here, we've got what's left of the carrier bearing bracket or midship bearing for that shaft. So now we need to get that thing unbolted. We need to get the hardware back, and then that will complete the removal of this shaft right here. Dave and Justin are out back taking off the rear brakes because the customer wanted to take a look at the parking brake shoes. I guess because the parking brake is ineffective. Okay, let's try this with a 13, not a 12. Dave, this gun hits, man. nasty. Okay, so the piece of the piece has been removed. I don't know where the remaining section of this is. I can't tell if it's freshly broken off or if it's been broken off for a while. It's in pretty nasty shape. Very corroded. The metal has obviously become fatigued from corrosion. Has this ever happened to any of you guys? Let me know. Comment section down below. Did your drive shaft ever fall out? Didn't stay where it was supposed to? You lost your shaft? I'd like to hear about it in the comment section. Let's move back up front. I'm gonna pluck out this tail shaft seal right here. I'm gonna get this guy removed. There we go. Okay, so we're gonna get this seal out of here in a similar fashion to how we popped the differential cover off. We're just gonna get behind the ring of it with a little mini drive driver and the linear impact, and we're gonna fold in the metal surround on the seal till it buckles, and then it should just fall right out. This should be done with a very sharp chisel, if done with a chisel. And you want to tap away from the aluminum housing so you don't gouge up and booger up that housing. That would be bad. Come out, come out. Actually, we got some space there. I can get a longer chisel in there now. Get some better swing action on it with my hammer driver. All right, we'll try this one for some reach. So the angle is going that way. That's gonna help drive away from the case there. Got it. Okie doke, so the next concern on the item, well, that brake nasty down there, all that rust. Next item was the parking brake shoes. So Dave and Justin pulled off the rear rotors while we were working with the shaft over there. And we have located our parking brake drum shoes. And these guys are, for lack of a better term, destroyed. They're about as good a shape as that carrier bearing was. You hear there's delaminated friction material. It's all pitted and coming apart. That's super nasty. Let's poke it with a screwdriver and see what happens. Found a little pocket driver in here. There we go. Let's give that a couple pokey pokes. Yeah, it's just flaking right off. There's nothing left. Yeah, big old chunk missing right over here. More chunks. Yeah, that's the metal backing plate right there. And this is pretty much all that's left of the shoe material. So we need a set of parking brake shoes. That's coming off right there. Look at that. It's gone. Yeah, a little more. We can do this all day. Walk away. So yeah, we've got some steel there. Destroyed friction material here. Let's check the other side. This is not as horrible as the driver's side, but it's still pretty junk. See that? Delaminating shoe. A lot of wear right here. There's the metal. Bunch of wear right here. That shoe's in good shape. Let's look at the inside of the rotors. So what we have here, we got a drum inside of a disc. Yeah, it's kind of crustomatic. Not looking that great. Minimal contact area on the inboard pad. You guys see that? All that rust? Okay. And our actual brake pads, those are kind of okay, with the exception of the wear pattern due to the rust. See that inboard right there? You can see where the rust is encroaching on the friction material and causing uneven wear. Unfortunately, I'm going to recommend some rotors and some service pads to go with this if we do the parking brake shoe work. Yeah, I hate to get rid of those pads. They're really thick but they're not worn very evenly. Let's just give these fronts a bit of a peek real fast. See how those are looking. I see a lot of pad material. Yeah, the rotors are all looking okay. I'm not really concerned about the fronts. Anything else that's staring at me in the face here that needs some TLC? Not particularly. Okay, so I got a shaft seal coming. Took a look at that bushing in there. That looks pretty good. It's not destroyed or annihilated from the flip-floppy event, so we don't have to put a tail shaft bushing in it, I don't think. Unless it leaks. If it leaks, then we'll have to put a bushing in it, but I think we're okay. This one over here, I'll get the axle nut for it and reseal that guy. Then I'm going to recommend parking brake shoes with some rear pads and rotors, and obviously some new fluid for the differential. I believe this is a 75-140 weight oil. So I'm going to go get all this stuff built up in the estimate, and we're going to give the guy a call and see what we're going to do with this particular 06 Ford F-150. Alrighty, it's the next day. Actually, it's the next week because I filmed this on a Friday and it's now Monday. It's Fun Monday, and it's going to be F-150 Rebuild Monday because the customer has approved all recommended repairs, and I have made the appropriate parts order prior to the weekend. We have here a set of power stop parking brake shoes. We have rear brake pads. I have a pair of rear brake rotors, also power stops, and below that I have a box containing the shaft. So we should have everything that is needed with the exception of the part to fix. It's the axle nut. We need to fix the that little bit of a leaker right back here behind the that pinion nut. What I'm going to do here is we're going to go ahead and pull this pinion nut off of here. I'm going to pull the flange off, pop the seal out. We're going to change the seal, the flange, and that pinion nut right there, and that should be sufficient to satisfy that leak that I thought was a recall. I don't know if it really was a recall, but my crane brainian told me that it may have been. Anyway, here's what we're really looking for. In the big old box, we have the shaft. It comes equipped with both pieces, or complete with both pieces rather. Ooh, it's got grease zerks in it, see that? And no, we have the carrier bearing. This right here was the original failure point on that drive shaft over yonder, and they just rode it out too long until the metal flew apart, and then the whole thing fell out. You guys saw that earlier. So anyway, let's get this thing unboxed and unpacked, and we're going to get her set up over yonder on the truck after we get the seals and whatnot installed. But first, I need to verify that this in fact is the correct component. The reason I say that is there are 3 different part numbers, and I had checked all 3 part numbers. This is supposed to be the appropriate one, but we must confirm such things, because if I try to install this and it's the wrong one, I will be like not a happy camper. So you see that has a master spline there. See how there's one spline groove missing? That is a master spline. This one is going to go into the transmission, I believe. Then the second piece slips into the slip yoke and then bolts to the flange on the diff. So this should be our flange bolt here, and that means this is our slider right here. That's the slip yoke. Come here, slip yoke. Much grease in there. Okay. Made in the USA, built in the USA. It's not just made, this thing is built. By the way, built by Dorman OE Solutions. Like I said earlier, these guys have really been stepping their game up over the years. Good job, Dorman. Much appreciated the effort. Someone's got to step up in the world of corporate treachery, and it looks like you guys are it. All right, we're back down below here at the tail shaft of the transmission, and I'm preparing to install this seal so we can install the front half of this drive shaft. Now, I can hear you guys right now. The little grommet bearing bushing inside of there is destroyed from the drive shaft flopping around. I have put my eyeballs on that bushing inside of there, and I do not see any deformation or irregular wear. Now, I've looked up the ability to source that bushing inside of there. And that bushing is kind of not easy to get. It's not really an off the part kind of shelf. They're out there, I can get one, but I gotta call the transmission builder guys to get a hold of that bushing. What I'm gonna do is we're gonna put this back together. I'm gonna put the new seal on it, and we're gonna shove that drive shaft in there, and we're going to monitor this thing to make sure it's a non-leaker. I do not believe that there's excessive play, because I've already put the old drive shaft back in and checked clearances with my ichrometer, and I don't see, again, any kind of damage, deformation, or things of that nature. So I do believe that we're okay to continue to use that sleeve inside of there. If not, if it turns into a problem, I'll take the drive shaft back off, and then we can we'll put that sleeve in there. But as it stands for right now, it's gonna stay the way that it is, and that's just the way that it's gonna be. So it's fine, don't worry about it. If it's not fine, I'll fix that later. Sound good? Sounds good to me. So here's our seal. Now you'll notice it has this big old honking dust boot thing on there. So we can't just stick this on and just hammer it on traditionally, because the hammer will hit the rubber and smash it and break it and bend it. Then it won't be much of a seal now, would it? So what I shall do is we're going to utilize this very large socket right here, in part because I do not have a bearing seal press that is going to fit over this appropriately. So we will use this instead. I'm going to shove the seal inside of the socket. See that? So now I can use the socket to drive the seal on, and we will do that with a linear impact driver. So all we gotta do is just kind of tap it in.
Just tap it in.
See that? Booyah! Seal is installed. Good to go. So now let's back her up some. We'll get the drive shaft, the front section. We'll hang the carrier on the bolts up there, and then we can work on the rear section once that flange arrives from the parts store. So real quick, let's take the front side of the drive shaft. And it goes without saying, this thing is equipped with brand new U-joints and whatnot. We're gonna go ahead and get this guy inserted. Yeah, look, see that? There's like no shaft play right here. This thing's all set, so no worries on any bushing damage. So we've got the shaft in. Turn around here. Hope you guys can see, because I can't see what you can see. But take the carrier bearing, midship bearing, many different names. It holds the drive shaft up. We're gonna take this guy, bolt that on. Oh, get on there. Okay, that's in position. So now I will grab my impact. We're gonna tighten those bolts down some, and then we'll test fit the second side of the drive shaft. Okay, we've got a 14mm wobble extension. That ought to handle it. Slippage. We have slight problem. The problem is that bracket's a little bent. Not a lot, but a little bit. How's the other side looking? That's not bent. Okay, I need to bend that bracket flange business quite a bit, actually, to try to level this out, because it's at this goofy angle. It's not a horribly major problem, because there's a lot of rubber in that bushing inside of there, but it ain't right. Alrighty, so here, let me get you guys a little closer. You see that bend right there, that nasty little dent? That's causing a deformation of the bottom of this bracket, and the thing's running sideways. So I'm going to apply the use of an actual linear impact driver right here. That's a anvil on the end of a pneumatic Arctic Cat air hammer right there. So we're gonna use that. I'm gonna throw on some hearing protection so I can hear. Get the air line out, right, so like that, and then we're gonna fire it up here. This is a nasty piece of tooling right here, look at that. This should make light work of this situation. Loud noises. Caution headphone people. Is it working? I think it's working. Phew! There's dust. I need to get a fan on me. Hang on. Phew! Air! Fan on. There. Let's try this again. We're not going to get it perfect, but I'm going to try to do something here. A little better. All right, it moved and I got a little straighter. So let's see what we can do with this. So to my eyeball, it's still not exactly correct, but I sort of think I have a solution to help out. So we need to get this area just tweaked this way a little bit. This bolt is at an angle back, so it's not exactly in line. Now I have here a wrench, and it's a Stanley wrench from Walmart. I have no idea why I did what I've done to it. I had to make a tool for something once upon a time, so I used this sacrificial wrench. I'm going to try to use this again to get the appropriate leverage up here on that piece of steel to kind of straighten it out. So what we'll do is we'll jam this guy in there like so, and then I'm going to come in with a big long 4-foot pry bar, go through the middle of the wrench there. This is super risky and sketchy, and we're going to try to bend this. That's not working. I'm going to try to bend this so I can bend that piece of steel. Let's see what happens. We're either going to bend the steel or we're not, right? Looks like I'm just bending the wrench, not the steel. Let's try something else here. There. And I went too far. We'll bend it back. Went too far again, so bend it back. Yeah, let's try that. At least now the bolt is facing vertically. Let's see what happens here. Click. Okay. I do believe that that will be sufficient to maintain straight line. It's not perfect, but it's not also running at an angle like that. So I think we're good there. Now I need to take this flange off of the rear diff here and prep it for replacement. Okay, next, let's go ahead and pull this nut off of here. Got a 1 1/16 socket. See the sealant we discussed earlier? That's the business right there. That's our cause for our leaker. So now we need to pull the flange out of this unit here. So I'll do that with a 3-jawed puller. It's not really designed for differentials, but it works very well in this particular instance. I've used this puller before for this exact same thing. And if it works, then it works, right? Oh, I could have done that by hand. Look at that, it came right off. That was like butter. I thought it was gonna be a little worse. They're usually harder to get off. Look at that seal in there. That thing's crust-o-matic. That's nasty. Yeah, that's all rusty and deformed. Good thing we got a new one. All right, back to chiseling. We're gonna get behind the lip on that seal. Chisel the daylights out of it. It'll come out.
Did it come out or what? And it has chosen what?
Got it. There she is. Nasty seal. Goodbye. Removed. Disconnected. Uninstalled. Contaminants. Okay, that's good. We grab some compressed air. We're going to blow this area out in case any rust particles have entered, and then we can get the new seal in position. Okay, enough screwing around. This is good to go. Let's get the seal on. So this will go a little easier than the other seal up front, and it'll go easier than the removal. You can just kind of tap it on in there. Probably shouldn't have said that, because every time I say stuff like that, it doesn't work out in my favor. Murphy's Law, you know. Yeah, see, now it's not happening. Where's that big socket? Insert foot in mouth now. Begin foot insertion procedure. I should have known. Yeah, okay. Okay, we're not going to do that. Bigger hammer. Perhaps like one good hit will be better than multiple little hits. No. 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 Maybe multiple big hits. Yes. It's not going in straight though. Got it. Kinda. There, now it's on straight. You lose, seal. You lose. Warning, do not actually do that. You should not be doing what I just did. Don't do that. Shiny. Okay. So we also have a new flange. It happens to be manufactured by Dorman. Yay for the win. It's got a whole Dorman driveline in this unit. Slip that guy right over. Give it some love taps. Then we get the nut. Screw the nut on next. So our replacement nut, see, it's loaded up with sealant. There's sealant on the threads and on the surface right here. So that will prevent fluid from wicking its way past the threads and contaminating and leaking out, right? At least that's what they say. Now, what we can't do is just send this thing home and pretend we're good, because there's preload to worry about. Remember preload? Not bottomed out yet. Okay, no motion, forward and back. I'm not going to really advise doing it this way, but preload feels absolutely perfect. So yeah, that's it. That's exactly where it needs to be. Preload feels great. That's exactly what it feels like. I'm not going to measure it with the angle meter. I know, and this is it, and that's how it's going to be. And if you don't like it, then you can leave a negative complaint in the comment section down below. That's just how it's going to be. So let's go fetch the other side of the drive shaft and get it mated up to the splines on the front side of the shaft, and then we'll get that guy bolted in. So we are going to have to make sure that the drive shaft, since it is two pieces, has to be indexed. And what I mean is, see how we have this front yoke over here? Well, we don't want the rear yoke landing in like this position right here. It'll be out of phase. And if it's out of phase, it'll create like this like a rhythmic harmonic vibration. So we want to make sure that this plane right here, as it runs through, will match up with this U-joint and that U-joint. That way they're all in a straight line and clocked properly. Now the thing is, this shaft has a master spline. See how it's got the one spline that is it's missing right there, or the cut that's not there rather. This shaft over here does not appear to have a master spline. They're all the same, so we do have to clock this the correct way. So I'll just eyeball it on that shaft or that U-joint over there, and we can't really get it wrong because it can only be one tooth off either direction. So as long as it looks right, it is right. Okay, new shaft coming in to position here. Try to line everybody up. And that should be the correct orientation. Shove that guy in there, just wiggle it. Alright, cool beans, that thing is on. The shaft is now free since the seal is past the splined area. Let's get the thing bolted back together. Okay, round on the back side here at the differential. Let's get this drive shaft back over the flange here, and we'll bolt her together. Don't fall out, drive shaft. Get in there. There we go. Bottom bolt. Now when I get this bolted on, we'll let it down, stick it into neutral, make sure everything spins properly, and then get out of there. Once we realize it's all free and clear, I can grease up that spline shaft over there. Then we'll move on to the diff cover, and after that we'll throw the brakes together. I'll get the fellas to help me out with the brakes. Okay, 12 mil spline drive. Again, with the flexi tip. Click. bolted together. Okay, real quick, a little bit more grease on it. Got the grease gun right here. Just make sure it's nice and full, since we know that those splines are able to move. I'll have to hold that on. It's not really sealing that well. More grease. This is some BG grease. Really good stuff. I wonder if I can. Ah! It just got me. I just got greased on my elbow. Here, we'll try this. I should probably get the Milwaukee. Hey guys, can I get a hand here? I can't put grease in this by myself. Did someone just hold the thing on so it doesn't leak? There we go. That's more better. Oh, it just smooched out the end there. Oh, little breather hole. I'm gonna keep going, see what happens. Hold it back on. Ah, look at that. It's just firing right out of the back side of the little hole there. Watch this. Hang on.
Ah, you're having too much fun. You're not allowed.
Yeah, I know. All right, we're good. Pull that thing off of there. We're good. Oh, cool. That's fantastic. What you talking about? You have new hardware?
Yeah.
Oh, can use it. Yeah. If you have new hardware pieces to put on those brakes, then please do so.
Oh, it does have hardware.
Oh, now Dave's got to go back and do it again.
Oh, that.
He did.
Well, she meant springs for nursery.
Oh yeah, no, we don't have hardware for the shoes, but there is hardware for those pads. Yeah. Ha! You were like, man, I gotta do it again. Well, you do like to do your job twice. I mean, it happens. Hey, we're talking about this hardware right here, that stainless steel looking business there. Okay, so anyway, so they're doing the brakes. Justin has his side done over here. That's done, that's done, that's done. So we're all sealed front and back on the shaft. New drive shaft with new universal joints. This is good. I am going to go and zizz wheel all the sealant off of this cover. Let me throw the cover back on. First, I'll pull off some of these big chunks if I can. That way we're not grinding away big old pieces of sealant. Yeah, that's about right. Okay, so we got a little roll-lock zizz wheel thing here. It's moderately abrasive and turned at speed. We will turn it. A pneumatic motor. Loud noises. Check this out. There we go. Look, it's kind of shiny-ish. So now we have a freshly prepped and clean surface for the sealant to seal against, to contain our 75 140 weight Amsoil gear lubricant that's going to go into the differential on our F150. Why is that all chowdered up? Look at that. What happened there? That's not right. How did such things occur? Did something break inside of this differential once before? Look at all that. That's impacted from in here on the inside. Nasty too. That's weird. I know what happened, I think. I bet I know what happened here. Let's just go speculate a little bit over here at the rear end. So this is gonna go in this area like so, right? We have all these gouges in here, and I bet that someone had this apart before and they forgot to put the set screw in that holds in this big pin right here. Guys, can I turn this differential?
Yeah.
I bet you that they left that pin out, and by leaving the pin out, it let that big pin fall out of there, and when it fell out, it was smacking into the diff cover. Yeah, look at here. Look at all that chowdered up business right there. See how that's the metal's slightly deformed? Yeah, that was a failed repair attempt. Someone forgot to put that screw in, and then this pin came out and was ramming into the cover. I have uncovered a previously hidden failure mode, but it should be fine. So let's get some sealant on this guy, and we're gonna bolt that thing back on, fill this thing on up. Okay, we have our bottle of sealant. It's the good stuff. You can get sealant that's $3 a tube, or sealant that's like $23 a tube, and I get the $23 a tube sealant. That way we don't have to seal it again. That's why it's called The Right Stuff, made by Permatax. Not sponsored, but that's just what I use when I can, because it is the right stuff, because it works more better than the wrong stuff. Anyway, you take your cap, which has the little point on it, and you shove that through to break the what you call it in there, the aluminum foil. There we go. Break the foil, and you put your nozzle back on, then you're ready to release the shmoo. By the way, shmoo is not an original term to me. I did not coin the phrase shmoo. That was bootleg ripped off from the YouTuber AVE from Canada. He's my favorite Canadian from the Great White North. Funny guy, man. Super funny guy. He does like violent unboxing videos and engineering-ish things explained. It's hard to explain the quality of his character and channel. You guys should go check him out. I'll leave a link to his channel down in this video's description. This is not a planned collaboration or anything, but since I mentioned him, I can send you guys over to his channel. Just let him know that Ray sent you. Anyway, continuing on with the application of said shmoo. See, that's the thing about like mechanical and automotive vernacular. It catches on like wildfire, and one guy will say something and then someone else finds it funny, and then they'll start saying it, and then someone else finds it funny, and next thing you know, the whole industry is saying the same thing. Then it crosses over into other industries, and before you know it, you got every blue-collar guy on the planet calling anything made out of liquid shmoo. Right, Dave? It's catchy, isn't it?
I've heard of shmoo.
Shmoo, yep.
Before I heard you say it.
I was not the originator of shmoo. That doesn't mean I'm stealing someone else's catchphrase either. I could say the word shmoo if I want to. It's a free country. And since that word came from Canada, they really have no jurisdiction. Trudeau tried that once upon a time when he was telling Americans that he would seize their bank accounts for donating to those trucker protesters, which probably made Americans donate to the truckers just to piss him off, because you can't threaten people in another country. Like, that's an act of war as far as Americans are concerned. Kind of like that time in that movie 300 when the Xerxes guy came to tell Leonidas he needed to like bow to Xerxes, and they threw him down in the cesspool in the middle of the city. Yeah, don't tell Americans what we have to do. We don't like that very much. It's not in our nature. Anyway, the shmoo has now been installed. Okay, dokes. Let's head back over to the diff. I've cleaned up the face of the differential. We're gonna get the cover installed. I have one of the fasteners in hand. So what we must do here, bear with me here, folks. Let me get this guy lined up without scraping our shmoo. using the holes to line it. And we have contact. One fastener. Second one down below right here. So what I'm going to do is we're going to run these down until they touch. There we go. I'm going to let this sealant set up for a couple minutes, and then we'll come by and tighten these. Kind of don't have to do it that way, but I don't see the harm in it. So that's how I'm gonna do it. Whoa! Fastener. It's down, I dropped it. No worries, I got it! And there's that little tag, one that tried to clip me in the finger when I took this apart. Ah, tried it again. Silly little guy. There. Bring. Yeah, I'm gonna rinse off all the oil that's on these bolts real quick, like. Nice and shiny-ish. Alright, now it's time to give it some oil. We'll go around over here to the other side, and we will find that our filler bolt is right here. Now, I made a cardinal error if I was up north. You have to remove these, or should be removing those, prior to removing the covers on the differentials, because if that's corroded in there too bad, or rusted or whatever, you cannot get that little dealio to come out. And if you can't get it to come out, then you can't put fluid back in, and then you're kind of SOL. However, here in the fantastic corrosion-free South, I don't really fear that very much, so it's a step that I often overlook, but it shouldn't be, because one day it's going to burn me, but I'll deal with it, I guess, when that happens. Anyway, let's get the Amsoil off the shelf, and we'll get this thing filled up and ready to rock and roll. Okay, same 13 socket. It's not really a torque wrench, but I know how tight to make them, so we're just going to do that. Kick. Oh, that one's loose. I missed one. Beautiful. Good to go. Our rear end is sealed up. So the lubricant I'll be using today is Amsoil Severe Gear. It's a synthetic, fully synthesized 75 Winter 140. It's for towing terrain and temperature. Comes in the blue bag. I always get these things in the bag because the bags are infinitely easier to install than the regular bottles, because you can squeeze the bags and squeeze out all the fluid. When it comes to the bottle, you cannot. The bottle is painful on the flanges. If you've got a pump, it's really doable, but if no pump is present, then well, you got to squeeze real hard. And those plastic bottles are hard to squeeze, but these guys, super easy. The other issue is space, because a lot of times you don't have space to stick that whole big old honking bottle in there. So you're trying to shove it upwards and then squeeze it enough to push the fluid up through the spout, and you can only get about half of it empty. Oh yeah, you only get about half of it emptied out before the bottle has collapsed. Anyway, there's one, 3 to go. Bag number 2. Squeeze this guy on through. I cut the nozzle bigger so the fluid would flow better. Look, a chigger. There's a chigger on there. What's he doing here? There should not be chiggers here. So the spec on this was 3.5 quarts. This is number 3. So let's see if we can get if it's gonna take 3 or 3.5. I just released the shmoo. Okay, that's full. So it did not take 3.5. It took just the 3. So we'll plug you in. And check that. Yeah, fluid's right there. We're good. Click. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and let this down, and on the way down, I'm gonna hop in, start the engine, we're gonna put it in drive, and then watch and make sure everything is running straight and true and that there's no weird noises. Got the rear brakes bolted back on. The spacers, which I don't advocate for, are back in position. That's gonna be both sides. Diff cover is bolted on, sealed up, brakes are on there, parking brakes are in, and of course the drive shaft and the carrier bearings on. So let's start it. We're gonna put it in drive, get the whole rear end turning, and then once everything's in motion, we'll go back up and take a peek to, oh, let me climb in. We'll take a peek and see how this thing is spinning round and round. Starting's the engine. It is alive. And we also have to check for leaks at that shaft seal too. So you guys clear? I'm gonna put it in drive. You good? Yep. Okay. Bump up the brakes some to get the service brake parking pads smashed against the rotor. In drive. And I'm letting off the brake. Now it's an open differential, so we're not going to see both drive axles turning. It's probably just going to be the one. Justin, will you run this thing back up, please? But it is in drive, so since that one's not turning, this one over here should be turning, right? Oh yeah, it's turning its booty off. Look at that. Round, 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 round. Yeah, it's going way round, round. Looking good in here. Go down below. That's looking good. That you're good right there, buddy. You're good. That shaft's not really the straightest. Oh. Sorry, Dorman, I tried. Okay, up front, that shaft is looking good. This guy up here is looking good. We're looking good here. Carrier is in good shape. Yeah, I think we're all good here. Let's throw these wheels on. I'm about to take it for a drive and make sure we're not vibrating something crazy. And I think we can call it. Well, since we're not really a fan of all this amount of run out right here, it looks like since I love my job so much, I'm gonna have to get another drive shaft and do it again, because that's not gonna fly, not at all. Look at it, wobbly wobbly. It's up and down, up and down, up and down. We're not even gonna test drive this. We just need to get another drive shaft. Yeah, that's not okay. That's gonna shake the teeth out of the back of your skull. I mean, it's good over here in the end. It's like good right here. See that? No run out here. But in the middle, I think it's got a 3/8 of an inch to run out. See that? That's not gonna work. Yeah, that drive shaft is very bent. We're not gonna let that go. And they balanced it. There was like balancing weights on this thing. They actually balanced this, and it's still not okay. The front shaft is great, but that other one back there, no, not so much. So I need to order another one. Yay. Try again, because I can't not let this thing go. No, not shaped like that. Okay. Well, that's probably going to bring this one for conclusion. I have no reason to go test drive this. We're going to throw the wheels back on and go park it, and that's going to be that. So I'm going to go ahead and close this video right now. Justin, you can let this thing down. We're going to toss the wheels on and get it out of here, because I have to order another shaft. It's going to take 2 days. So guys, having said all of that, looks like we're back to square one with our parts situation as always. It is what it is, and I did use a different supplier this time, so it's not just one, it is all. That's the post-2020 parts supply conundrum. That's how it is. Anyway, I'm gonna start getting more upset and annoyed and start complaining, saying things that'll get me sued on the internet. So I'm gonna go ahead and close this one out right now. I will do such things as always by thanking each and every one of you guys for watching this video. Let me know what you think about this situation in the comments section down below. Do not forget to engage with that like and subscribe button while you're down there. And most importantly, check out this end screen right here at the very end of the video for the top video of last month. See you guys in the next one. Have a great day. In the video, end of transmission. All right, let's get her out on the road here and see how she's gonna ride. Okay. Well, at 25 miles an hour, feels all right back there. This engine feels like it's misfiring. It doesn't really have any horsepowers. It feels a little off. He's got a dead cylinder or something. I don't know, maybe it's just the that awesome Ford modular power. Now I'm gonna get it up to speed a little bit and see if I'm feeling a vibration out of the rear end. That's the goal here. We weren't working on drivability, we were working on drivetrain. There's a difference. Okay, braking traffic. Get this boat on the road here. Full speed. Yeah, this thing is no way running on all 8 cylinders. There's no way. I have like the pedal to the floor. We're barely going anywhere. Full speed. Yeah. Well, the Driveline's not falling out of it. Like, it's not shaking the teeth out of my head. So that's doable. I guess it's within specified specifications. It must be within spec because I wasn't feeling it. It's a weird intersection. Very large sweeping turns. All right, they're making a left, so I can go make a right. We're good here. Yeah, this thing's running like it's got a clogged cat or something. It's kind of how it feels. Yeah, it feels cat clogged. Better check that service engine soon illuminator right there and see if it's got like a P420 or a P430 code or something. It just feels kind of choked out. All right, back to the shop we go. I think we're good here. See you guys later in the video. Party's over. Have a great day.